Millionaire. Shocked after discovering his daughter. Went to the black cleaning lady alone. William Bradford, a widowed millionaire from Atlanta, lives surrounded by luxury but trapped in the emptiness of his own loneliness. By his side is Zara, his daughter, a sweet girl growing up starved for affection, stuck in a world of silence and appearances. It is in this setting that Amara Johnson appears, a simple, strong, and dignified woman who finds her way into the girl's heart and awakens feelings William wasn't prepared to face. Amid prejudice, injustice, and societal pressure, the three begin an intense journey of pain and self-discovery. As the masks of the elite start to fall and invisible bonds of love and courage bloom, their lives take an unexpected turn that will forever change the meaning of family. Before we dive into this emotional story, I have a special invitation for you. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I'm really curious to know how far this story is reaching. And if you love passionate love stories full of emotion and twists, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss a single update and you'll help our channel grow and keep bringing more heart-touching stories. A gray morning rises over Atlanta, and William Bradford's mansion stands silent behind flawless walls and symmetrical gardens. The entrance hall has light marble floors, cold to the touch, and a staircase with a glass railing that seems to float. Abstract paintings line the walls like trophies of a life without pauses. A grand piano rests closed in the living room, polished but with no musical memories. William Bradford, 41, tall, athletic, appears in the hallway in a sharp dark gray suit, a white shirt with not a single crease, and a tie as precise as his gaze. His beard is perfectly trimmed. The subtle scent of cedar follows him. He holds his phone with the same firmness he holds his schedule, as if any slip could bring down everything he's built. Behind his intense blue eyes, there's an old weariness tucked away like a photo no one sees. In the spacious kitchen, surfaces gleaming with light, Zara, 9 years old, fair-skinned with delicate freckles and blonde curls falling over her shoulders, stares at the untouched warm pancakes. She's wearing her school uniform, navy sweater, white shirt, pleated skirt. Her green eyes wander the space without settling on anything, as if searching for a presence that never arrives. "Reschedule the meeting for 9 and send the revised contract," William says into the phone, crossing the kitchen without slowing down. "No, not this afternoon. Today, I can't." He touches his daughter's shoulder quickly, an automatic gesture. "Zara, eat something." The driver leaves in 15 minutes. The girl forces a smile. "It's okay, Daddy." "Good." He slips the phone into his blazer pocket. "Anything you need, ask." Amara Johnson appears at the service door in a simple, clean uniform, gloves tucked into her apron pocket. Her dark brown hair is tied back in short braids, framing her strong features. Her ebony skin contrasts with the morning light. She carries a bucket with cloths and a bottle of cleaner that smells like lemon. Her steps are steady and quiet. She notices the table set too elaborately for a single child, the untouched plate, the gaze pretending not to care. "Good morning, Mr. Bradford," she says respectfully, nodding slightly, then turns to the girl. "Good morning, Miss Zara." "Good morning, Amara," the girl replies, in a whisper that escapes before she finds the courage. Amara sets the bucket in the corner and picks up a cloth. The marble island doesn't need another layer of shine, but she wipes it anyway, more to give the room time than to give it sparkle. "Your orange juice is fresh. If you'd like, I can bring you a straw." Sometimes, juice tastes sweeter with a straw. I don't know why. Zara almost giggles. With a straw, I think it's more fun. Amara offers a soft smile, one that doesn't intrude, only offers shelter. Be right back. William checks the time and grabs his leather briefcase. I'll be home late, Zara. Be good. He exchanges a quick glance with Amara, half request, half order. Let me know if anything happens. Yes, sir, says Amara. The front door clicks shut with a soft sound, but the echo lingers like a long whisper in the tall walls. Amara returns with the juice and the striped straw. She places it gently on the island, as if the table were a lake and the glass a buoy. Try it now. Zara takes a sip. It's really better. Some secrets are simple, Amara says, tucking the cloth back into her apron. And they work. The girl fiddles with her napkin, folding and unfolding it with precision. You always know what to do when the house gets too big. Big houses have a habit of talking loud in the silence, Amara replies quietly, like she's sharing something important. But we can teach the house to whisper. How? With little sounds. Amara points to the wall clock, the hum of the air conditioner, the soft ticking of a faucet that needs adjusting, and with good memories. I don't have many. Zara's eyes drift toward the door William just left through. Amara holds back from saying more than she should. Instead, she slides a vase of eucalyptus branches to the center of the island. There. Eucalyptus? At my house, my mom would leave some in the kitchen. The smell clears the air. Zara inhales. Smells like green. Smells like a beginning. Amara picks up her bucket. I'll tidy up the living room. If you need me, I'll be close by. The afternoon creeps in slowly, as if the mansion and time had a secret agreement. Zara's footsteps echo in the hallways. She passes through the living room, glances at the closed piano, lightly touches the lid as if asking for permission. She pauses for a few seconds, listening to the nothing. The rain starts outside, heavy, sudden, typical of the South. A thunderclap crashes nearby, and the girl instinctively recoils, hand to her chest. Amara, dusting the bookshelves in the study, hears the thunder, and almost at the same time, the silence that follows. The absence of the girl's voice screams louder than any noise. She sets the cloth down on the table, walks down the hall, turns left, crosses the living room, and finds Zara crouched behind the piano, arms wrapped around her legs, hair covering part of her face. Zara. Amara's voice is like a lamp being turned on at dusk. I don't like thunderstorms, the girl confesses, trying to keep her shaking in check. It's okay not to like them. Amara crouches down, leveling her eyes with the girl's. Look at me. Let's breathe together. 4 seconds in, 4 holding pass, 4 out. We can count with the rain if you want. Zara nods. Amara starts, marking the beats with her fingers, like strumming an invisible guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4. The girl's chest follows. Her breathing finds a rhythm. Another thunder rumbles in the distance, softer now. When I was little, whenever the sky got angry, my mom used to say it was just the earth asking for water, and we'd leave the window slightly open to listen to the rain's song. It sounds less scary when you say it like that. Zara whispers. That's because we're together, and together, big things feel the right size. The storm begins to move away, as if the city, too, had remembered how to breathe. The clock marks the end of the workday. But Amara doesn't stand up right away. She waits for the girl's timing. Then, she offers her hand. Zara grabs it tightly. Can I show you something? Amara points to the other side of the room, where a tall bookshelf holds books lined up like soldiers. There's a little corner by the window with a blue armchair. It's a good spot to listen to the rain from afar, I want to see." The girl stands up, still holding Amara's hand. They walk slowly toward the window. The armchair really is blue, with soft fabric and a backrest that feels like a hug. The glass is speckled with raindrops. The garden glows dark. Amara places a blanket over Zara's knees. It's better with a blanket. That's a universal rule. "Thank you, Amara." The girl leans her head against the backrest. "Can you stay for a while?" "I can." Amara sits on the edge of the armchair, not intruding, just present enough. "Want me to read something?" "Just stay." The hall door opens carefully. William walks in, puts his briefcase down, and takes a deep breath like someone who's made it through too long a day. He walks down the hallway and, before announcing his arrival, sees the scene. His daughter nestled in the blue armchair, the blanket up to her waist, and Amara sitting beside her, attentive and calm, as if her presence made the house feel smaller. William pauses, uncertain. His blue eyes soften ever so slightly. He clears his throat and resets his expression. "Zara," he asks softly. The girl stirs a little and smiles, sleepy. "Hi, Daddy. The rain's almost gone." William looks at Amara. There's a thank you that doesn't come out, held back by old habits. "Thank you for staying with her." "You're welcome, sir." Amara stands gently. It was just a bit of rain. William watches his daughter for a second longer than usual, as if trying to save the moment for later. "I'll order dinner." "Zara, what do you want?" "Anything we can eat together," she replies, not realizing she just gave a name to the emptiness. Later, when the house returns to its silence, Amara turns off the living room lights, picks up the blanket, and pauses before leaving. From the doorway, she looks at the blue armchair and the reflection of the rain on the glass. The mansion is still immense, but there's now a corner that whispers, and in that whisper, the girl finds warmth. The next morning, the mansion wakes with the sun filtering through sheer curtains, and the same meticulous routine as always. The smell of strong coffee drifts down the hallway. William is already up, blazer on his shoulders, flipping through his planner like he's trying to bend the day to his will. He glances at his daughter, seated at the table with an open notebook and a flawless uniform. "I'll be late for lunch today," he says while straightening his tie. "After school, the driver will take you to your pottery class. It's all on your calendar." "Okay, Daddy," Zara replies without looking up. The word "okay" carries more weight than it should. William leans in and touches the top of her head, with a hand still cold from the air conditioning. "Call me if you need anything." When he leaves, the house returns to its silent breathing. Zara stays still for a minute, listening to the faint sound of the gate opening, then closes her notebook. In her sweater pocket, she keeps a small paper with carefully written letters. Amara's phone number and address, written weeks ago for emergencies. Between the pages, she'd been repeating that address in her head like a secret song. In the car, the driver asks for the destination, and she says with rehearsed ease, "Public library first, please." He nods and turns on the radio softly. When he stops in front of the glass-walled library building, Zara gets out with her backpack, waves, and waits for the car to turn the corner. She takes a deep breath. The paper touches her fingers like a reminder, Westview Drive. The walk takes her through streets she's never walked alone. The sidewalks are alive, carts selling peanuts, open doors letting out laughter, voices, and music with lively beats. A group of kids plays soccer in an alley. A salty scent of hot oil and fried plantains drifts by, lit up with spices. A beauty salon displays colorful posters of braids and curls in the window. A lady sitting in a folding chair sews a fabric with African prints, vibrant as a sunset. Zara arrives at the brick building where Amara lives, 3 stories. External iron staircases, plant pots taking care of the entrance, a simple bell beside the mailboxes. She climbs the steps slowly, feeling the slightly rough metal under her hand. The door to 3B has a straw wreath with a red ribbon. Her heart beats faster than it does on test days. She knocks softly. The lock turns. Amara appears in the doorway, her uniform swapped for a simple white t-shirt and a cotton midi skirt. Without gloves, her hands show small cuts, the kind that come from not being afraid of work. Her eyes widen in a mix of surprise and concern. "Zara? What happened? Are you okay?" "I'm fine," the girl says, with a smile that wobbles a little. "I just wanted to see your home." Amara glances down the hallway, then at the wall clock inside the room. Her fingers grip the doorknob for a second longer. "Come in." The apartment is small, but everything tells a story. A low bookshelf with neatly lined books and framed photos. Amara as a child in a backyard with banana trees. A family portrait with wide smiles. An image of her mother holding a wooden bowl. In the kitchen, a large pot bubbles. The smell is warm and inviting. Stewed tomatoes, bell peppers, garlic, a promise of jollof rice. Music plays softly on a phone propped on the counter. A light guitar, voices in harmony, a rhythm that makes you want to tap your foot. "It's jollof," Amara explains, seeing Zara's nose sniff the air with shy curiosity. "Rice with tomato sauce and spices. My mom used to make it on Saturdays. Today I needed the smell of home. Smells like a hug," Zara says, slowly approaching the pot. "Can I help?" Amara laughs gently. Kitchen rule. Whoever helps gets the first serving. She ties a small apron around the girl's waist. "Hold the spoon. Stir gently, like you're drawing a circle in the rice." Zara follows, focused. The hot steam makes her curls stick to her forehead. Amara gently brushes the strands aside and pins them back with a colorful clip she grabs from a glass cup. The kitchen, tight for 2, feels just right in that moment. "Amara, your home makes less noise inside," the girl says, eyes still on the pot. "That's because here, things only say what needs to be said," Amara replies, washing the cutting board. "And because music takes the place of silence." Zara notices a cloth hanging from the stove, printed with geometric designs. "It's pretty. My Aunt Kemi gave it to me when I moved in. She said, 'Take a piece of our street with you.'" Amara dries her hands. "Zara, does your dad know you're here?" The girl lowers the spoon. "I said I was going to the library. But I needed to see it. I needed to know what a place that doesn't feel empty is like." Amara takes a deep breath, wrestling with responsibility and affection. "I don't like secrets that put kids at risk. I came during the day. I wrote down the directions. I promise. I'll go back early." Her light green eyes plead for understanding, but also for belonging. Amara takes the spoon and places it back in the girl's hand. "Then let's cook quickly and text the driver to pick you up at the library at 3. Deal? Deal." While the rice rests on low heat, Amara slices plantains and drops them into the frying pan. The oil sizzles. The music shifts to a cheerful chorus, and both of them, without planning it, sway gently. Amara hums a line in her mother's language, and Zara tries to repeat it, stumbling over the syllables, laughing at her own mistake. "What does it mean?" the girl asks. "That the rain comes and washes away the day's tiredness." Zara looks toward the window. It rained yesterday. Today it feels like my chest is lighter. They eat lunch on mismatched plates, sitting at a small wooden table. The jollof is warm and generous. The plantains are sweet on the outside, soft on the inside. Zara closes her eyes to better taste the flavors. For a moment, the world fits inside that square of table. That colorful cloth used as a placemat, that glass of mango juice. My mom also had a blue blanket, the girl says, remembering the armchair in the mansion, but the smell was different. Here it smells like life happening. Amara chews slowly, as if every bite deserves respect. When I got to Atlanta, I thought my life would fit in a suitcase. Now I know that we are the suitcase that turns into a home. We open and close it and keep what really matters. Zara smiles, a smile that finally reaches her eyes. Can I come back another day? We can talk to your dad, Amara says, firm and caring at the same time. You don't have to hide to be where you feel good. Zara's phone vibrates on the table. A call, William. She freezes, fork in midair. Amara makes a small motion with her hand. Answer, speak calmly. Zara slides her finger across the screen. Hi, Daddy? Zara, your pottery class changed rooms. You're at the library, right? William's voice tries to sound casual, but there's a scratch of worry underneath. I am, the girl replies, glancing at Amara, who nods in encouragement. I was reading. Outside, a neighbor walks down the hallway calling out, Amara, I left the fruit at your door. The voice cuts through the door and lands clearly on the call. William goes silent for a second, the kind of silence that weighs. You're with Amara, he asks. Now lower, slower. Zara opens her mouth, and the words tangle somewhere between fear and the desire not to lose that moment. Sensing the knot, Amara leans in and whispers, Tell the truth. Yes, Daddy. I came to see her house. On the other end, William's breathing shifts rhythm. Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you. The call drops. The apartment, filled with music and spice moments ago, holds its breath for a second. Amara clears the plates with calm movements, but her eyes reveal the storm inside. She picks up her phone and texts William, She is safe. I'll take her to the library in 10 minutes. Almost immediately, the phone vibrates with a reply. No. Wait. Zara clutches the patterned cloth in both hands. Did I ruin everything? You told the truth, Amara says, her voice now an anchor. The truth hurts sometimes, before it heals. Heavy footsteps climb the building stairs. 1 abatin, 2, 3 flights. The metal railing creaks, a shadow moves beneath the door gap. Someone stops outside. The doorbell rings, short, decisive. Zara, William's voice calls, not raised, but firm enough to shake the air. The bell still vibrates when Amara takes a deep breath and turns the doorknob. William Bradford stands on the other side, tall, his dark suit flawless, shirt sleeves slightly rolled up like he climbed the stairs in real haste. His blue eyes scan the hallway, then the inside of apartment 3B, taking in the warm smell of tomato and spices. The table with 2 plates, the patterned cloth, Zara's backpack leaning against the chair. Zara, grab your things. We're leaving now, he says, voice low, sharp. The girl appears from the kitchen, still wearing the small apron around her waist, her curls held back by the colorful clip. Her hands tremble slightly, but what trembles most is the desire not to lose what she felt there, belonging. Daddy, There is no just, he interrupts, his eyes never leaving the room. You said you were at the library. Amara steps forward, her posture calm, hands clasped to hold her strength. Mr. Bradford, she's safe. I was going to take her back in 10 minutes. I sent a message. I read it. William replies, unsympathetically. That's why I came myself. His gaze lands on the pot on the stove, the resting rice, the golden plantains on the tray. This, his hand gestures around the room, is not a place for my daughter. The air inside the apartment stiffens. Amara holds his gaze without raising her voice. This is my home. It's your space. I understand. He takes a step, his tie swinging slightly with his nerves. But my daughter shouldn't be mixing like this, without my permission, without supervision. It's not appropriate. Zara, stretched thin like a wire about to snap, tries to get her voice in. I wanted to come, Daddy. I asked to stay for just a little while. Amara, enough. William raises his hand, and though the gesture is contained, it cuts off the girl's words. He turns to Amara. If you had good intentions, you would have sent her home immediately. Or called me. Not just a text. At the very least, you should respect boundaries. I do respect boundaries, Amara says, every syllable firm but not harsh. But I also respect truth. She wasn't in danger. She just needed to breathe. The word lingers between the three of them. William presses his lips together, a shadow of embarrassment turning into impatience. Breathe. Her house has no shortage of windows. Windows don't make a home, Amara replies, almost in a whisper. A noise from the hallway catches their attention. A neighbor leaves a bag of fruit in front of 3A and, before heading downstairs, glances quickly into 3B. A teenager leaning on the stair railing holds his phone, unashamed of his curiosity. William's world, used to heavy doors and discreet security, feels exposed. He puffs his chest slightly, like donning armor. Zara, take off that apron, he orders. We're going. The girl unties the knot with rushed fingers. Amara, can I keep the clip? Of course, Amara says, gently touching the girl's hair. It was made for you. William picks up the backpack and hands it to his daughter, not acknowledging the gesture of affection. His eyes stay fixed on Amara. You don't need to come to the mansion tomorrow. I consider this a breach of trust. Zara gasps, her face flushing with contained panic. No, Daddy. Please. She didn't do anything wrong. She welcomed you into a place that doesn't belong to you, William says coldly. I'm the one who decides where you should be. Amara breathes once, twice, to keep the pain from turning into a storm. If you want to dismiss me, you have that right, she says, her voice as clear as a bell. But don't speak of me as if I were a mistake in front of your daughter. I'm a working woman, and I honor the house of whoever hires me, and my own home. Honor isn't in question, he replies, already turning to the door. Safety and boundaries are. Zara slips over to Amara and hugs her, a tight hug trying to fit into 1 second. Thank you for lunch, she whispers, eyes damp. Thank you for teaching me how to make a house whisper. Amara returns the hug with the care of someone holding glass. You can always breathe. Remember that. That's enough, William says, pulling the door. He takes his daughter's hand and leads her into the hallway. The neighbor pretends to adjust her wreath. The teenager lowers his phone a second too late. The iron stairs vibrate beneath the rushed steps of father and daughter, going down, down, down. In the parking lot, Atlanta's heat clings to their clothes. William opens the car door and, before Zara gets in, the girl turns and casts one last glance toward the 3rd floor. Amara is at the window, not waving, just present. Zara's eyes say what her mouth can't. Don't give up on me. Inside the car, the silence weighs as heavy as a verdict. William starts the engine but doesn't shift into gear. He stares at the windshield and, for the first time that day, hears his own heartbeat louder than the ticking clock. "You disobeyed me," he says, not looking at his daughter. Zara holds the colorful hair clip in her palm like a talisman. "I just wanted to remember what people close by sound like." William clenches his jaw, searching for strength where there's only exhaustion. "People close by means me." "But you're never here," she blurts out. And the sentence hits him like a cold wind on a summer day. He shifts into gear, the car pulls away. In the rearview mirror, for a moment, the brick building looks bigger than the mansion. Upstairs, at the window, a woman with short braids stands tall, dignified, holding herself together so she doesn't fall apart. Back in the apartment, Amara closes the door slowly. The pot no longer steams. Lunch sits cooling in the serving dish like it's waiting for someone who won't return. She picks up the small apron and folds it with care, as if it were made of memory. Her phone vibrates on the counter, an unknown number, a short, sharp, formal message. "Service is suspended until further notice. We will be in touch." Amara holds the phone with both hands, her knuckles whitening. For a moment, her chest wants to cave in, but she straightens her spine, breathes in what's left of the tomato and pepper aroma, and walks to the window. The street is still alive. Kids playing soccer, someone laughing loudly, life insisting on existing. Amara rests her forehead on the cool glass and lets a single tear fall, discreet, like someone watering her own courage. On the way back, William's phone flashes with an urgent email notification on the dashboard. He ignores it. When Zara finally speaks, there's no yelling. Just wait. "You hurt the person who helped me breathe." William doesn't respond. The light turns red, and for 3 long seconds, they sit at an intersection that seems to decide destinies. The light turns green. The car moves forward, and in its wake lingers the question neither of them dares say aloud. What happens when the only house that whispers is the one that welcomes? If you've made it this far, comment courage. That way I'll know you're feeling the depth of this story, and will confuse those who only read the comments. Night falls heavy over Atlanta, and the Bradford mansion glows in silence, lit by outdoor lights that feel more like spotlights on an empty stage. Dinner unfolds cold and wordless, with silverware clinking against expensive porcelain. Zara picks at her food, eyes fixed on her plate. William glances at his daughter but lacks the courage to break the silence. After the meal, Amara arrives quietly to clear the dishes. The suspension order still hangs like a shadow, but at Zara's insistence, William allowed her to come just today until everything could be settled. The girl drops her silverware with a sharp clink, her eyes teary. "Daddy, you can't treat Amara like that," she bursts out, breaking the silence. William raises his head, surprised by his daughter's courage. "Zara, we've talked about this. It's not something for you to get involved in." "Yes, it is," she snaps, voice trembling. "Because you didn't see what I saw. She's not just the cleaning lady. She's my friend." Silence cuts through the air. Amara, steady, clears the plates as if each movement were a prayer for patience. Her eyes shine with held-back pain, but her posture is upright, dignified, unshaken. William stares at her, uneasy, and for a moment, the weight of his own prejudice presses harder than any boardroom meeting. Amara sets the dishes on the counter, and Amajaki, without asking permission, takes a deep breath and decides to stay silent no longer. Mr. Bradford, I never asked for pity. I came to this country with a suitcase and a promise to support my family. I worked 3 jobs at once, slept in subway stations, washed dishes until my hands cracked. But I never stole from anyone. What little I've earned comes from sweat and dignity. William stiffens, jaw tight, but finds no words to cut in. Amara goes on, her voice vibrating like a tense string refusing to snap. While I was cleaning offices and hallways in companies where no one ever noticed me, I studied in silence. I studied English until my throat bled from repetition. I learned French listening to old radios and Spanish on night bus rides. Today I'm fluent in all 3, though almost no one bothers to ask. Because to most people, I'm just the woman who takes out the trash and leaves the floors shining. Zara's eyes widen, fascinated, almost proud. You speak 3 languages, she asks, her voice a blend of admiration and surprise. I do, Zara, Amara replies, softening as she looks at the girl. And one day, I'll use every word to open doors that once looked locked. The girl smiles with innocence, while William lowers his eyes, shaken. He realizes that in all these years, he's never asked a single question about the woman who cared for his house and his daughter. I didn't know, he mutters, more to himself than anyone else. Amara lifts her chin, firm but not arrogant. You didn't know because you never wanted to, Mr. Bradford. And that's exactly what hurts the most. Silence falls again. But now it isn't empty. It's full of revelations and discomfort. Under the table, Zara holds Amara's hand like someone finding an anchor. William sees the gesture, and something inside him stirs, though he tries to keep his expression hard. Daddy, Zara says, looking him in the eye with grown-up courage. If you can't see who she really is, then you don't see who I am, either. The sentence lands like a blow. William holds his breath, unable to answer. Amara collects the last dish and walks to the kitchen, but each step sounds like an act of resistance, as if silently saying, I will not bend. Outside, the night feels heavier, the wind howling against the windows like the whole city is witnessing that moment. William stares at his own reflection in the living room glass. A powerful man, made small by the truth he's just heard. And for the first time in years, he doesn't know how to keep acting out the scene of his own life. The days following Amara's revelation brought a storm William didn't expect. On Monday morning, local newspapers ran subtle society columns commenting on the unusual episode at the Bradford home. Blogs and gossip pages among Atlanta's elite began spreading rumors. CEO allows daughter to bond with housekeeper. Zara Bradford spends weekends in humble apartment. Who is the mysterious Amara Johnson? Her name, once invisible, now circulated in circles that never used to see her. At the mansion, William paced the office, gray suit still sharp, but his shoulders heavy with tension. His phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Business partners questioned whether he was losing control of the family image. One message from an investor was as sharp as a knife. Your personal life is drawing more attention than your business. This could get expensive. In the dining room, Zara overheard some of the conversations from behind the door. When she heard her father say, "This is an embarrassment for us," tears stung her eyes. She pushed the door open hard, catching William by surprise. He nearly dropped his phone. "Embarrassment?" the girl shouted, her voice shaking. "Embarrassment is not seeing the person who took care of me when you weren't there." "Zara, don't speak to me like that," William said, trying to hold on to authority. "You don't understand how the world works. I have to protect our image." "Image?" She fired back, tears rolling down her freckled cheeks. You care more about protecting your image than protecting my heart." William stepped closer, crouching down to her level. "I just want what's best for you." "Then why are you trying to push away the one who gives me real love?" she cried. "I'd rather be with Amara than you, Daddy, because she listens, because she sees me." The words pierced William's chest like hot iron. He opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came out. The silence stretched on, and his heavy breathing clashed with his daughter's honest sobs. Upstairs, Amara had been folding clothes when she heard the outburst. She walked down slowly and found Zara standing, fists clenched, and William frozen, misty-eyed, but unable to cry. "Zara," Amara said, placing a gentle hand on the girl's shoulder. "Don't talk to your father like that. He's learning, in his own way." "But I'm tired of waiting for him to learn," the girl replied, still crying. "I need you now." William turned to the window, where journalists were already starting to park outside. The mansion's gate was lit by flashes, voices asking for Amara, as if she were an intruder in the elite's kingdom. The whole world seemed to be judging him, and for the first time, it wasn't about business. It was about how he ran his home. He closed the curtains with force, trying to block the stares, but the truth had already slipped through. Amara was no longer invisible. Zara was no longer willing to stay silent. And William, under the pressure of society and his daughter's courage, felt the empire he had built begin to crack from the inside out. The sound of the doorbell rang out like a gunshot. On the other side, insistent voices. "Mr. Bradford, can you comment on your daughter's relationship with the housekeeper? Does Amara Johnson have influence over Zara? Is this appropriate for a family like yours?" Zara covered her ears with her hands, her cry turning into a muffled scream. "I don't want to live in this house anymore if Amara's not here." William closed his eyes, as if the sentence carried the weight of a verdict. Zara's cry still echoed in William's mind when night fell heavily over the mansion. He went up to his office, but couldn't focus on contracts or reports. His daughter's words hammered in his head. "I don't want to live in this house anymore if Amara's not here." For the first time, the millionaire felt that all the power he had meant nothing compared to the disappointed gaze of a child. The next day, William came home early. From the car, he saw Zara playing in the garden with Amara. The girl ran barefoot through the grass, laughing like she hadn't in a long time. Amara, wearing a simple blue cotton dress, held a jump rope and counted loudly in English and then in French, making the girl burst into giggles. "Un, deux, trois," Zara repeated, stumbling over the numbers but never losing her smile. William stayed in the car for a few seconds, watching. The scene, so natural, so alive, made him feel like a stranger in his own home. As he got out, his heart was heavier than his leather briefcase. Amara noticed his presence and paused the game. Zara ran over to her father and Papa without asking for permission, grabbed his hand. "Daddy, Amara taught me to count in French. Did you know she speaks several languages?" William forced a smile, trying to mask the shame of only now realizing it. "I heard." Dinner that evening was different. For the first time, William asked Amara to sit at the table with them. She hesitated, but under Zara's insistent gaze, she agreed. The once cold atmosphere shifted. William, so used to speaking about numbers and deals, now listened as Amara spoke about her life with simplicity. "I used to read books out loud to practice pronunciation, why?" she said, looking at her plate. "Sometimes the neighbors would bang on the wall complaining, but I didn't stop. Each page was a chance not to give up." Zara, enchanted, asked, "Read us a piece, Amara." Amara pulled a small, worn copy of The Little Prince in French from her bag. The cover was yellowed, but the pages were full of life. She opened it and began to read, her soft voice filling the mansion's silence. Zara listened with fascination. William, without realizing it, did too. When Amara finished the passage, the silence that followed wasn't empty. It was reverent. William took a deep breath and said, "You have a different kind of strength. A quiet strength, but one that fills the whole room." Amara raised her eyes to him. "Steady. It's not strength, Mr. Bradford. It's survival." There was pain in those words, but dignity too. William couldn't hold her gaze. For the first time, he felt small in front of a woman who, with no wealth or status, seemed to carry more truth than all the ballrooms he had ever entered. Later, when Zara was already asleep, William crossed the hallway and found Amara picking up the girl's toys. The soft light lit her face, and for a moment, he saw her not as the employee, but as someone who had brought color into the emptiness of the mansion. "Amara," he called, hesitant. She turned, surprised. "Yes, sir." William approached slowly, like stepping into unfamiliar territory. "I need to thank you. You gave my daughter her smile back, something I couldn't do." Amara lowered her eyes, trying to hide her emotion. "You don't have to thank me. I just did what any heart would do for a child who misses love." The silence between them stretched. It wasn't hostile. It was dense, filled with something neither dared to name. William wanted to say more, but the words got lost. Instead, he took a step back, respecting the invisible line that stood between them. Amara picked up the last doll and smiled gently. "Good night, Mr. Bradford." "Good night, Amara," he replied, but his voice came out softer, almost intimate. Outside, the moon lit the mansion's facade. Inside, something new was beginning to take root, a bond built on respect, admiration, and a quiet tension that promised to shake the walls of prejudice still standing around them. And deep down, William knew he was standing before a woman unlike any he had ever known. If you've made it this far, comment respect. That way, I'll know you're following every detail of the story, and will confuse those who only read the comments. The quiet connection between William and Amara didn't go unnoticed. On a rainy afternoon, when the mansion seemed to breathe in peace after days of tension, a shadow from the past returned. Helena Whitmore, William's ex-girlfriend and heiress to one of Atlanta's most powerful families, reappeared with the sharp smile of someone who never forgets rejection. Tall, blonde, always flawless in designer dresses, she carried venom in her words. At a charity cocktail event hosted by a local NGO, Helena approached the journalists even before William arrived. With a champagne glass in hand and a calculated expression, she launched her poisonous insinuation. "It's curious, isn't it? A man like William Bradford, now surrounded by a housemaid. Some say she's only after his fortune, and honestly, who could blame her?" The cameras captured every syllable, and within hours the entire city was talking. Gossip websites plastered headlines: "Millionaire romantically linked to mansion employee." Amara Johnson, Atlanta's newest social climber. At the mansion, Amara found out about the rumors through a phone call from her sister, who lived in Houston. "Amara, they're talking about you on TV. They're saying you're taking advantage of that man." Her anxious voice cut through the phone like a knife. Amara hung up slowly, her hands shaking. When William got home that night, he found her sitting in the living room, eyes filled with tears, but her posture upright. Zara slept upstairs, unaware of the storm rising below. "Did you see what they're saying about me?" Amara asked, direct. William adjusted his tie, avoiding eye contact. Yes, I saw. It's complicated. Complicated, she repeated, voice tight. They're calling me a gold digger, an opportunist. They're turning my life into a lie. And you, what did you do? Did you correct them? He hesitated. Amara, if I speak out now, I might only add fuel to the fire. Sometimes silence is the best strategy. She stood, outraged, her face marked with pain. Silence? Silence only protects those with power, William. Silence never protects the small. You think you can defend me tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll already be the target. Today, right now, they're tearing me apart. William took a deep breath, trying to explain. I have to think about the company's image, the shareholders, stability. Then think about my dignity too. Amara cut in, her voice echoing through the mansion. Because there's no company big enough to erase the fact that you let them call me something I never was. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. Her heart beat fast, not from fear, but from frustration. William, on the other hand, seemed caught between two forces, the social expectations that shaped him and the truth standing right in front of him. Amara, please, give me time. She closed her eyes, holding back the anger and pain. Time already stole years of silence from me, William. I don't have any more seconds to waste. She turned and walked slowly up the stairs, leaving him alone in the luxurious living room, surrounded by expensive furniture that did nothing to fill the emptiness left by his hesitation. William stood still, unmoving, the echo of her words pounding like a sentence. He had failed when it mattered most. Outside, flashes lit up the mansion gate. Reporters waited eagerly. The city wanted blood, and at that moment, William's silence had handed Amara over on a silver platter. The night was long, heavy, and the silence in the mansion seemed to press down on every corner. Amara spent hours in her makeshift room, packing the small suitcase she had brought when she first started working there. She folded each piece of clothing carefully, as if closing chapters of a life she didn't want to end this way. Her tear-filled eyes revealed the internal struggle, but her upright posture showed she wouldn't allow anyone to see her broken. The next morning, as the sun painted gold over the mansion curtains, Amara came down the stairs with the suitcase in hand. The ache in her chest wasn't for the job she was losing, but for Zara, who still slept upstairs, unaware that when she awoke, the house would be empty of warmth. But the girl's light footsteps echoed through the hallway before Amara could reach the door. Zara, still in pajamas, her blonde hair messy, ran to her and clung tightly to her legs. "Don't go, Amara. Please don't go." Amara closed her eyes, breathing deeply to keep from falling apart. "Zara, my sweet girl. Sometimes we have to leave when we're no longer welcome. But you are welcome," the girl cried, sobbing. "You're the only one who makes me feel like I still have a mom. Since she died, no one has hugged me the way you do. No one has listened to me like you do. Don't leave me alone again. I'm begging you." Her words cut through the air like a blade. William, who had been quietly coming down the stairs, stopped halfway. The scene before him was unbearable. His daughter clinging to the woman he had left exposed and humiliated, begging not to lose her. Amara knelt down, holding the girl's face in her hands. "Zara, I love you like you were my own daughter, but sometimes adults make decisions that kids can't change." "Then I'll change them for you," Zara cried, desperate. "I'll tell everyone you're my family, because that's what you are." William couldn't stay silent any longer. His voice came out rough, full of regret. "That's enough." They both turned to him. Amara stood slowly, still holding Zara's hand. Mr. Bradford, don't worry. I'm leaving. I don't want to be a scandal in your life anymore." William came down the last steps heavily. His face looked tired, but his eyes, for the first time, weren't cold. They were full of guilt. "Amara, I was wrong. I should have stood up for you. I should have stood up for the truth. But I chose silence, and in doing so, I hurt you. And my daughter." Amara held her posture, but her voice cracked. "Silence is a choice, and you chose to leave me alone." Still crying, Zara squeezed the housekeeper's hand. "Daddy, if she leaves, I'll never forgive you. Because she's the only one who gives me a mother's love." The words hit like a gavel. William covered his face, trying to hold back the emotion he could no longer hide. His eyes filled with tears, and he needed a few seconds to speak. "I lost my wife too soon, and I tried to fill the emptiness with work, with money, with silence. But it was you, Amara, who brought my daughter's laughter back, and I was too blind to see it." Amara's suitcase slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a dull thud. The weight of that moment no longer rested in the folded clothes, but in her heart, torn between the pain of humiliation and the love she felt for Zara. "I don't know if I can forgive what happened," Amara said, tears finally falling. "But know this, if I stayed all this time, it was for her. Only for her." Zara threw herself into Amara's arms, crying uncontrollably, while William stepped closer, placing a trembling hand on both of them. "Don't go. Not now. Not like this. I need to fix what I broke." Amara looked at him with tearful eyes, but still strong, still dignified. The silence that followed didn't bring peace, only the weight of a decision yet to be made. And in that moment, William realized he was not just standing in front of an employee, but in front of the woman who had revealed the fragility he had spent years hiding. Zara's words echoed in William's mind for days. The weight of guilt wouldn't let him sleep. At every meeting, every contract signing, the image of his daughter clinging to Amara came back like a ghost. He knew he could no longer hide behind silence or excuses. The world was already judging him. But for the first time, that didn't matter. What was truly at stake was his daughter's heart, and the heart of the woman he had hurt. That week, William made an unexpected decision. At a business event, with the press present and shareholders watching, he asked to speak. Dressed in a dark blue suit, but without his usual stiffness, he faced the cameras with a firm gaze. "I've been the subject of rumors and comments in recent days," he began, his deep voice echoing through the room. "And for a long time, I let those outside voices shape my choices. But today, for the first time, I won't stay quiet. I want everyone to know Amara Johnson is not just the woman who works in my home. She is a woman of courage, dignity, and intelligence. She is someone who brought life back into my daughter's smile, and for that, she deserves not just respect, but admiration." A murmur filled the room. Some applauded softly, others whispered, unsettled. William took a deep breath and concluded, voice cracking slightly, "And I'm not ashamed to say that beyond respecting her, I've fallen in love with her." The next day, his statement was on every headline. "William Bradford defies Atlanta's elite and admits love for housekeeper." The media was divided, but society, shocked, couldn't ignore the millionaire's boldness. Amara, however, wasn't in the middle of that crowd. She watched the scene on television, sitting on her modest couch, in her small living room decorated with family memories. Her heart beat fast, but her mind still urged caution. She had been humiliated, wounded in public. Words wouldn't be enough to erase those scars. That night, when the noise of the city had calmed, someone knocked on her apartment door. Amara opened it and found William standing there. No bodyguards, no luxury, just a tired, vulnerable man. "Amara," he began, his voice low. "I know I've said too much to the world already, but now I need to say something just to you." She crossed her arms, trying to remain firm. "The words you said were beautiful, but you only said them when you had no choice left. Where were they when I needed them?" He stepped closer slowly, eyes brimming with tears. They were trapped in fear. Fear of losing business, fear of what people would think. But now I understand that what really matters isn't society or shareholders. It's you. It's Zara. It's the truth I denied until I couldn't anymore. Amara looked away, fighting back her emotion. "And why should I believe you now?" William pulled a small, crumpled drawing from his pocket. It was a scribble from Zara, 3 stick figures holding hands, with the words, "My family." He handed it to Amara with trembling hands, because that's how she sees it. And deep down, it's what I want too. A family, not an empty empire. The tears Amara had been holding finally fell. She touched the paper as if it were made of glass. "You don't know how much it hurt to feel alone when the world came after me." "I do," he replied, voice broken. "And if you let me, I'll spend the rest of my life making up for that mistake. Not as your boss, not as someone above you, but as a man who fell in love with the strongest woman he's ever known." Silence filled the small room. Amara took a deep breath, looked at him, and finally said in a soft voice, "I don't know if I can forget what happened, but I can try to forgive. For me, for Zara, and because, despite everything, I feel something I can't hide anymore." William moved, held her hand gently, like someone holding something sacred. "Then give me a chance. Just one." Amara nodded, her eyes still glassy, but with a shy smile beginning to form. "One chance, William, just one." And in that moment, between humble walls and a worn-out couch, something was born that no luxurious ballroom could contain. The beginning of a love that defied expectations, prejudice, and fate itself. If you've made it this far, comment forgiveness. That way, I'll know you're feeling the power of this story, and will confuse those who only read the comments. The following months were marked by silence from the media and the sound of change inside their hearts. The scandal, which once echoed like a sentence, lost its strength in the face of the peace William and Amara chose to live in their truth. The mansion, once cold and full of shadows, was now filled with Zara's laughter, the smell of fresh bread that Amara loved to bake in the late afternoons, and the long conversations shared at the table. When they announced the wedding, there were no newspaper ads or extravagant guest lists. William wanted something different, far from the spotlight that had hurt them so many times. The ceremony took place in a small city garden, decorated with white flowers and simple chairs. The Atlanta sky seemed to bless the day, and a gentle breeze caressed everyone's faces. Amara appeared in a delicate lace dress, no extravagance, but full of the strength and sweetness of her journey. Her hair was braided in a traditional African style, carrying the roots of her story like an invisible crown. William waited for her at the makeshift altar beneath a floral arch, wearing a light suit that highlighted the deep blue of his eyes. But it wasn't their outfits that drew attention. It was the emotional glow in his eyes, a man who had finally broken down the stone walls of pride to show himself vulnerable before all. Zara walked between them, holding a small flower basket, scattering petals along the path. The smile on her face was living proof that two distant worlds had finally come together. When Amara reached William, her tearful eyes met his. "Are you sure?" she whispered. "Just for him." William smiled tenderly. "There's no greater certainty than this. Today, I'm not marrying the life people expected of me. Today, I'm marrying the woman who taught me how to love again." The officiant began the ceremony. But what truly mattered was the emotion overflowing in every glance. When it was time for vows, Amara held William's hands and spoke with a firm but emotional voice. "I entered your house as someone invisible, but I found in your daughter a reason to stay. Today, in front of her and everyone here, I say, it doesn't matter what people say. What matters is that love is our truth." Zara, emotional, took their hands and added with the innocent honesty only a child can have, "Now I have a whole family again." Tears rolled down Amara's and William's faces. At the same time, the guests applauded, not for the wealth or the grandeur, but for the courage of that gesture. When the kiss sealed their union, it wasn't the story of the millionaire and the housekeeper, but of two human beings who found in respect and bravery the strength to rewrite their destinies. Later, during the small reception, William stood and gave a simple but profound toast. "Today I learned that true wealth isn't what we store in safes, but what we carry in our hearts. And this heart belongs to you both." Amara smiled, moved, and Zara ran to hug them. That tight embrace, the three of them united, was the real happy ending that no one could deny. The lesson was clear. Society may try to impose its labels, but love, respect, and courage will always find a way to bloom, even in the harshest soil. And so, we come to the end of this intense and emotional story. I want to hear from you. What did you think of this journey? Leave your rating from 0 to 10 in the comments so I can understand how much this story touched your heart. If you enjoyed it, like the video, share it with someone who'll be moved too, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next stories. And before you go, I've picked another even more emotional story that will surely touch you in a unique way.